Well, hey, y'all, and welcome to the Hillbilly Chicken Ranch. And we are talking about the hashtag 1896 Fannie Farmer Recipes open collaboration hosted by Luann's Kitchen and myself. And this is Miss Luann.
Hello.
So we're going to welcome in Jamie's Country Living. Blackberry Rock Homestead is Luann's other channel. And Tina with Life in the Piedmont. We're so glad you're here. Tina was my guest on the other live today. So
Yeah, I was driving to town to get to the Wi-Fi. So one day we'll have Wi-Fi. It's getting closer. So
I remember when we didn't have Wi-Fi here, it was really bad and you couldn't get good internet service. So we were so glad when we finally got that.
yeah, I remember dial-up. We had dial-up at one time, and then yeah, and then something happened. We got off of dial-up and never did get it again. And then now our electric company is working through all the different counties and areas and getting Wi-Fi. So I know they've hooked up somebody first for first Wi-Fi, but we got the wiring. We just got to wait. So
right. We finally got an internet service that it's Wi-Fi, but it's an internet service that's affordable in our area.
That's the true question, affordable. So
right. Now Luann is freezing up a little bit.
We've priced a few, and then once they say, well, yeah, I'm sorry about that.
That's okay. You can't help it. She's freezing up a little bit, so y'all bear with us. We're going to wait for some more folks to get in here, but I want to tell y'all that my mother, my grandparents all cooked from scratch. That's how I learned to cook. I didn't have a lot of boxed meals growing up or canned meals growing up. And so everything was made from scratch. It was a garden. They grew it and they ate it. They did go to the grocery store. You know, as I got a little older, they were like everybody else, going to the grocery store, picking up things. But my mother really did not even make cakes without making it from scratch. She was a great cook.
Wow. Yeah. Sorry about the music in the background.
That's okay. So Fannie Farmer was really the one that was responsible for us having measurements, cooking temperatures, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. But in the front of my 12th edition book, she's got all kinds of information there. And also on the back cover, there's more information. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk about the different books and resources out there. If you can't afford to go get a book, there's free resources. So welcome in Heather with Milk and Funny.
Hello, Heather.
Milk and Honey Heritage Farms. Where did that come from? I'm writing down everybody's name. I'm going to try to get y'all on my playlist. So my watch later list. So you'll get some extra watch time this week. We do this with my other lives, so I wanted to do it here too. Yeah, I did say funny. I'm crazy.
It's been a long day.
It has. Now I've written this blurb out. If people come in late, they can go read it in the description box. But Fannie Farmer first appeared as the author of Boston Cooking School Cookbook in 1896. So this cookbook has been around for over 100 years. It's been reproduced several times. We've got several editions out there. And it's kind of a hard, scarce book to come by. So if you get your hands on one, it is a prized possession. The first cookbook that was introduced, this is the first cookbook that introduced modern measurements, cooking temperatures, and cooking times for recipes. Miss Farmer modernized the cooking standards that we use today. Fannie Farmer became a final authority on cooking, and her cookbook has stood the test of time. Almost all the recipes are from scratch cooking. Today, although rare, her cookbooks can be found in thrift stores, online sales, and internet archives or on Pinterest. It was a favorite cookbook to give to new brides. This cookbook covers just about everything imaginable to make your cooking experience the very best. My 12th edition, which is this great big book here, has 811 pages. It's very impressive, and it's really the only cookbook that I need. If I wanted to, I could throw out the other 200 cookbooks and I would have a really good cookbook to use. This open collaboration will begin May 1st and it will go through December the 30th. It is a great, great cookbook. There's a little history about scratch cooking that Luann's going to talk to you about.
Yeah. So, I remember through my history books how a lot of people moved to town. They used to do scratch cooking, and that's when our TV dinners come out and the box mixes that we have. Now, I remember my grandparents, both of them cooked from scratch. Both of them had a big garden, and they were poor folk, so they would get the commodities back then, the cheese, the peanut butter, the rice. But I remember my grandma cooking the homemade biscuits. Oh, gravy from scratch. Everything was from scratch. Now, my mom, some things she cooked from scratch, some things she didn't. So it varied, but she learned from her mama. And we did have a garden growing up too, and she did can a little bit, not a whole lot. I feel I can more than she ever did, but I have a little four book box set, basic breads, little meals, which is soups and salads, and what was the other ones? Dinners, and then wholesome desserts. And I will be looking for the bigger book at thrift stores because I don't want to pay full price. I'm like Susan, I don't want to pay full price for things, so I try to avoid it.
Yep. Before Fannie Farmer's cookbook came out, the recipes were written in a paragraph, and you would have information in there of what the ingredients were, not measurements, but what the ingredients were, and whether you cooked it in a low heat oven or a high heat oven or a medium heat oven. There was no temperature gauge, and you would cook until done. They would not tell you how long to cook it. So this is a big step forward for us to have recipes that we had all of that information in. This cookbook covers everything. It has information about everything in your kitchen, appetizers, soups, fish and shellfish, meats, poultry and game, wild meats. It has that in there as well. Sauces, marinades, stuffings, and quick relishes, filled things, cereal, rice, beans, and pasta. It has eggs and cheese, vegetables, salad, yeast breads, quick breads, cakes, frostings and fillings, cookies and cake squares, pies and pastries, desserts and dessert sauces, fruit and fruit desserts, candy and confections, preserving pickles, canned fruit and vegetables, frozen foods, and then it has appendix on beverages such as coffee, tea, punch, cocoa, and milk drinks. It has menu and table settings, pressure cooking charts, and a table of calories and metrics. It also has an index. That's a lot of information packed into one cookbook. Recipes telling you how to truss a chicken. Look at that. How to Trust a Chicken. Yeah, they were called receipts back in the day. They weren't called recipe. So it is called the Fannie Farmer Cookbook. It comes with different covers. If you order it online, you'll find different editions. Mine is the 12th edition. So it comes with different covers, but it's the Fannie Farmer Cookbook. This one was revised by Marion Cunningham with Jerry Labor, and it is printed by Alfred A. Knopf of New York in 1979. So this is a 1979 edition. Hey, Huga Homestead, welcome in.
I think this is 1995. These were remade, the little books that I got. The one with the basic breads, it has helpful hints for the housekeeper. And then there's tips besides a glossary. And then I just noticed I even have some extra recipes. These I had gotten this at a thrift store, and there is some recipes that was written on the back of it in the notes, a couple different recipes.
Yeah.
That they added. So this one just has the little meals, has a glossary in it. The dinners has, let's see, more tips, and then a recipe for beef stew. And then the dessert, wholesome desserts, it just has tips, and it does have the measuring deals on it. So
yeah, it's got a lot of great information.
yes.
I just put up on the screen so everybody can see the name of the club is hashtag 1896 Fannie Farmer Recipes. This collaboration will begin May 1st and it will go through December the 30th of 2024. We're excited to introduce this cookbook to everybody because it is the first one where there was actually measurements written out. Super, super excited. It's got recipes in here for like Texas hash, Salisbury steak, how to cook a hamburger, parsley butter, velouté sauce. I'm probably butchering that. Bercy sauce, curried rice, rice croquettes, fried rice. She explored foods from other nationalities that were coming into the country during that period of time. She would go out to a restaurant and she would bring home part of the meal that she ate so that she could figure out what the ingredients were and write the recipe out. So she had a lot of culinary experience. She even shows you a diagram of what the vegetables look like.
Wow.
I mean, it's just amazing. Cottage cheese griddle cakes. That sounds yummy. I like cottage cheese myself. So, I mean, there's options out there. She's got all kinds of recipes in here. She's got the baba cakes, lazy daisy cake, how to make your frostings. She's got a whole section on frostings. Just all kinds of great, great recipes. So if you get involved with this, all you're going to do is you're going to include the hashtag. You're going to tag Luann's Kitchen and the Hillbilly Chicken Ranch in your title and your description. There will be a playlist on both of our channels that you can include so that we can find all the recipes and see how many people actually try to cook from scratch. The reason that Luann and I decided to do this, one is we both love the book.
Yes.
But two, we have several generations that have grown up on boxed meals from the grocers and fast food. We've got people out there literally that don't know how to use water out of a faucet to drink. They buy bottled water. So we
Yes.
want to teach them there are ways that you can cook for yourself and be independent and be able to survive in these times. So this is a great survival prepper book for many, many people that do not know how to scratch cook. And so we want to introduce that to everybody.
Yeah, I was just glancing through the breads on there, and there's a recipe in here for emergency biscuits. So if you're in an
See?
emergency and you need a biscuit, you want biscuits, there's your recipe. And you was talking about the different nationalities and stuff. I seen, where was it at? It was a bread. Gotta find it again. It was a German toast. Tomato
Wow.
cream toast.
Wow. I'm expecting once this collaboration gets going good, that the prices of these cookbooks online are going to skyrocket. So if you want to get in on this and you want to have a copy of the book in your hand, you need to order them pretty quickly. Now you can go to the archives online and you can actually print out the original Boston cookbook, Boston School of Cooking cookbook that was written by Fannie Farmer, and you can print it out at home and save a lot of money doing it that way. I just came across gelatin desserts.
And
Gelatin desserts, which is
wow.
one of Luann's collaborations. The Jello desserts started coming out, I believe, in the late 1800s, and
Yes.
so yes, she would have included that in here, and so she explains how to do it, how to make the gelatin desserts. Um, she's got frozen desserts like mousses and parfaits. Um, she's got ice cream recipes in here, and she's got baked custard, cream brulee. I mean, just a number of wonderful, wonderful recipes. Uh, Couillure, I am not good with these French names. Couillure a la creme, which is made with cream cheese, and it's got cottage cheese in it. It sounds so delicious.
Oh, here's a recipe for blackberry pie where you actually make your pastry and you cut it and do the strips and put them on top. Cranberry pie.
Yeah. I'm growing rhubarb for the first time. I have no idea what to do with rhubarb, but in here is a cold rhubarb souffle. That sounds yummy.
Yeah, that does. Rhubarb pie, squash pie.
She talks about when fruits are in season in this book and what you can do with them. And then in the candies and confectionaries, I remember my mother making homemade caramels, pulled taffy, and all those things, Divinity, all those things. The recipes are in here. Hey, Smoky Mountain Blessed, Miss Joy, thank you for coming in. This is a recipe book that is a keeper. I mean, if women would give these for bride gifts, bridal shower gifts, it is definitely a keeper of a cookbook. She's got a whole section in here on pickling and preserving. Now, I would take these recipes and compare them to modern day recipes for
Right.
cooking time, canning time and everything, but you can still follow the recipe, just use the modern cooking time on your canners or how you would can it. So those are some
macaroni soup. Sorry.
That's
Macaroni soup.
Yum.
And all it is brown soup and macaroni and salt and pepper, and that's it.
We got a
Spring
recipe in.
soup.
We got a recipe in here for horseradish. So you got a lot of basic recipes all through this. Some fancy schmancy recipes as well. And then she gives you ideas for meals and what you would serve at a meal. So she gives you meal planning and all that wonderful stuff that we don't do today as often as we should. If you were going to give a party, what kind of punch would you serve? She's got fish house punch in here. That sounds interesting. I'm not a fish eater, but that sounds interesting. She's got alcoholic and non-alcoholic recipes in here. So lots and lots of great, great recipes.
Here's a recipe for German dressing.
Yum. Now we have some German heritage, and I like German potato salad. My mother used to make a German potato salad. So that would be a recipe that I would be looking for.
Yeah, I have German heritage as well. So my great grandpa came from Germany.
Yeah. So it's got a gnocchi.
Here's a potato mayonnaise.
Yeah. It's got gnocchi alla romana in here. So you can make your own gnocchi. Gives you the recipe and how to do it. Barbecued lima beans. Now, I love barbecued lima beans, and that is a Pennsylvania Dutch dish. I can tell you. Delicious, and it tells you how to do that. And that recipe could be multiplied out and canned if you follow the ingredients in here, and then you go look up your cooking time on the meat that's included. You would know you would have to process in a pressure canner for 75 to 90 minutes, depending on whether or not you're using a pint or a quart jar, because I know the cooking time for meat is 75 minutes for pints, 90 minutes for quarts. So you would go to your altitude and adjust your altitude weights for that. So, I mean, there's recipes in here that we could can, that we could put on our shelves for long term. Boston baked beans. Just all kinds of wonderful.
Here's German cabbage.
Yum. It's got the recipe for pizza dough.
Yum. Well, hey, Heather's pizza party.
Yeah, it's got a recipe in here. Now, there's also recipes on Pinterest that are Fannie Farmer recipes.
Yes.
But if it isn't a Fannie Farmer recipe, but it's a scratch recipe, I think you could still put it in here.
Yes.
Yeah, you could still do a scratch recipe for this collaboration without the cookbook. Look up scratch recipes, and you will find a host of scratch recipes. Now, just make a notation in your description box that it's not a Fannie Farmer recipe, but it is a scratch cooking recipe.
Here's a recipe for dandelions.
Yeah. So now we're getting into the harvesting wild things.
Yeah.
I know there is recipes in here for wild meat. I have to find them. We've got venison steak with chestnut sauce. Hey, Marketplace Boutique, welcome in.
Potato apples. Apples that are stuffed with potatoes.
We can break up the monotony of everyday food by introducing some of these recipes back into our diet.
Yes.
Marissa's Yarn and Crafts, welcome in. Marinated leg of venison. Fried rabbit. Anybody out there like liver? I'm not a liver fan, but there's broiled liver, Venetian style liver loaf. Tripe. Tripe is another food that a lot of people do not eat. Uh, tripe lyonnaise, tripe and batter, tongue. They've got recipes in here for tongue. Sweetbreads. They got recipes in here for sweetbreads as well. Um, stuffed hearts, broiled kidneys, brains, preparation for brains. Now, usually that is pig brains. Um,
Yes.
scrambled eggs
Yes.
and brains.
I got a recipe. I got a recipe for head cheese somewhere at the house. So
Yeah. So lots and lots of wild meat recipes and other recipes that you could do if you're into unusual meats that we don't normally eat today. But our ancestors did eat these types of meats. Hey,
yes.
Gail, welcome back in. Gail is excited about this one. She's already got her cookbook.
Awesome.
Let's see. It's got recipes for stuffed sausage and how to make ham patties and a German loaf. The German loaf has ham and pork in it, and um, I'm sure it's very, very tasty. Let's see what else I find in here. Shepherd's pie, lamb, moussaka. It's got a recipes in here for moussaka, which is one of my favorite Greek dishes. This cookbook shows you the cuts of meat. Yeah, it does sound a little crazy, doesn't it, Joy, about the
Yes.
liver and brain meat? But that's what our ancestors ate. I ate brains and eggs until I was old enough to read what the can said, that my mother set the can down on the table one day. And I'm like, what are you feeding me, Mom? Brains and eggs. I'm like, no.
Well, I remember my stories that my dad said that my grandma Janie, well, great grandma Janie, anything that they would go out and kill, she would clean it and cook it no matter what it was. It could be a blackbird. I mean, she said, as long as you don't kill a red bird, other than that, I don't care what you kill, and we'll cook it and eat
Exactly.
it. Because back then, times were hard in the 30s and 40s. So,
Well, we didn't ask my grandmother what kind of meat she was cooking because she would always say chicken. So it could have been any number of things, but it's got a large fish and shellfish for those that eat fish. There's just tons and tons of recipes. Now I'm sure every edition has something new in it or different. They did add some recipes to this along the same lines as Fannie Farmer along the way, I'm sure. This has a jelly roll on how to do jelly rolls. And I think it was Heather that did a jelly roll not too long ago. Hey, Grow Big
yum.
TV. That's Mr. Joe. That's Garden State Gardener Joe. Grow Big TV. And Scratch and Pete PA, welcome back in. So we hope that we are wetting your whistle to try some scratch cooking in your home. If you ever wanted to know how to make a jelly roll or an angel food cake from scratch, the recipes are in here. Daffodil cake. It's called
made something like that at one time. So
yeah, it's called a daffodil because it bursts of yellow throughout the white cake. Looks like flowers. As good to eat as to look at. It's got a sunshine cake in here.
I've made the sunshine cake for sure. I know I have. So, and angel food cakes as well. So,
yeah. I mean, just all kinds of recipes in here, y'all. Every kind of vegetable you can imagine. It's got lots and lots of vegetables and recipes for vegetables. Um, it's got fava beans in here. I've never had them, but they're large, shiny green beans, often called broad beans. And they're found on the market in April, May, and June. So lots of fun there. We are planting beets for the Grow Big 24 challenge. It's got recipes in here for beets. So I'm excited about that.
Boiled onions.
Yum.
Scallop onions.
How to make homemade ravioli.
Yum.
So I mean, there's just it even goes into sandwich
Boiled
making.
beet greens.
It tells you how to make a poor boy in here. It has a hero sandwich, a grilled cheese sandwich, Reuben sandwich, club sandwich. I mean, talks about filled things like your crepes, your filled pasta, quiches, and pizza. Great, great recipe books. Relishes, uncooked tomato relish, mustard relish, celery relish, chili sauce. I'm telling you, this cookbook has just about everything in here, including casseroles, chicken corn casserole. I found the game birds section, roasted guinea hen. It's got broiled quail, broiled wild duck, all kinds of recipes, y'all. Um, it will have us prepared for when we don't have the convenience of going to the store to prepare a meal. So I hope everybody will jump on board with this. We're not going to keep you very long, but we did want to wet your whistle and tell you that this collaboration is coming up. We hope that you will all jump on board. You don't have to be a homesteader or a prepper to do a cooking video. It can be any channel out there. We ask you to cook a recipe out of the cookbook or find a scratch cook recipe online if you can't get your hands on the cookbook. So this is the Fannie Farmer Cookbook.
There are Fannie Farmer recipes on Pinterest because I was looking and it was like a photo from the actual cookbook on there. So
yeah, and you can also go to the archives and get the original Boston School of Cooking cookbook. I think that's the name of it. Let me go back and look at my notes.
I think that's what it was because that's what it says at the beginning of these cookbooks.
Yeah. So Fannie Farmer did us a favor. She made the recipes where we could measure it out, have a cooking temperature and a cooking time, and she also gives us all types of information to help us with things that could go wrong in the kitchen, like you have curdled or broken hollandaise sauce or mayonnaise sauce. Whisk in a teaspoon or two of boiling water and a drop at a time. And if that doesn't work, you put an egg yolk in a bowl and add to the broken sauce, slowly beating it with a whisk. And in no time, you'll have a smoother sauce. So that's one of the little tips on the front cover there. So you got all kinds of information in these cookbooks. And I'm telling you, it is going to be a lifesaver for many, many generations to come. I hope this book is still around in another 100 years. I really and truly do.
I think it will be. We may not be, but
we won't be here, but the cookbook will be here. AKP Heathen, welcome in. We are talking about an upcoming collaboration that starts May 1st, and it will go through December the 30th. It is the hashtag 1896 Fannie Farmer Recipes collab. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be a Fannie Farmer recipe. It can be a scratch recipe that you find online, or maybe it
As long
was your
as it's cooked
mother.
from scratch.
As long as it's cooked from scratch and you make the notation that it was cooked from scratch. Hey, Smoky Mountain Nature Joy. Thank you for coming in. So we're excited to introduce this to y'all. It is hosted by Luann's Kitchen and the Hillbilly Chicken Ranch. Use the hashtag and tag us in the title and in the description box. We will find your videos and get them on a playlist. We both will have a playlist that you can also put in your description box of your video. And we hope to see everybody joining in on this one, because I think it's going to be a lot of fun. If you've never done any scratch cooking, this is your opportunity to experiment with it. Whether it is a win or lose, you're in the game. And that's all that really matters.
Yes.
We may do it. We may do a lot. We may do a drawing. We haven't really discussed that yet. But if I get my hands on another Fannie Farmer cookbook, that would probably be the prize if we can get our hands on one. But we may have.
Yeah.
We may have other prizes if we can't. So we may do something like that. You can always donate a prize. If you want to donate a prize, just let us know. You can email either one of us. My email is thehillbillychickenranch@gmail.com.
And mine would probably be the Blackberry Rock Homestead @gmail.com. So
either one of us can be emailed that way. Well, we've kept you on here for almost 40 minutes. I appreciate everybody coming through. We wanted to keep this short and sweet. So it's Fannie Farmer, y'all.
Yep.
First cookbook that ever came out. She wrote it in terms that we use today. Before that, it was a little blurb or a paragraph, and there was no real directions in it. It told you what ingredients was in there. It told you things like a low oven or a hot oven. It didn't tell you the cooking time.
Yes.
So this was a major, major step forward. Brides across the last century have received this as a gift from many, many family members that loved them and wanted them to be good cooks. So y'all, if that was the case, you know it's a good cookbook. And I appreciate you coming in. I appreciate Miss Luann driving to where she could get a good internet service. And and we thank you. And I hope to see some of your recipes in the month of May through December. Y'all be fully blessed. Thank you for watching.
Thank you. Bye.